So this is a fairly large area. I'm still unsure as to whether I'd like to have some ground cover below this line, which is why I put this line in. At the moment I find it a bit daunting to make decisions about here or even think about it. Excuse me. So all I'm going to think about is this boulder for the time being, and these bits of rock that are sticking up above this line as well. So that's what we'll start in. I've got a couple vertical lines in here because I'm thinking I might use a cleft. I might have just going straight down. It's sort of in the nature of some of the other rocks at the bottom. So we're just going to start playing with that. Well, I've decided to work a little bit above this line to bring some ground cover up a little bit higher yet. So as you can see, I've put in a few dark strokes of darker paint, and I think what we'll do is just do things the coward's way. Oops, getting little bits of junk here again. Okay. And work our way into this boulder. I'm using cobalt blue and burnt sienna. Varying the brush strokes. Always trying to vary the brush strokes in shape and size, length, what have you. Now I can go back over these if they require some lightening up, but I don't think I'm too light. I think we're safe with that at the moment. Okay, I'm going to go a little higher here. I'm not using any linseed oil, just straight paint. No terps, not washing in. You can see it's all pretty much the same value, which is why I can pretty much guarantee you I will be laying some lighter or higher value just in a few spots, bare minimum, in a few spots on top of these brush strokes. Okay, I think that's a good start. Well, I think the brush I was using is a little bit sloppy. So I've changed brushes for the moment, and I'd like to raise the value of this a little bit. I think that can easily be done, and it still will work. You know, this sliver of rock is picking up some light from up here somewhere, you know, wherever you like. No, I'm not starting with the distant piece of rock and working forward. I'm starting with something a little closer and we'll work back to that sliver. That's fine. That doesn't matter. It's foreground stuff, you know, it's because of the technique that I'm using, I'm not going to be painting my background into my foreground. I'm going to be painting adjacent to it. So this started out as a big boulder. It's become 2 now, or maybe even 3. First I'm going to make this into a bit of a jagged rock here. So now I can go lower on value, and I can also go colder on color. So this is a mix of white, raw umber, and ultramarine blue. This is a little more ultramarine blue, and I'm going to add a little more raw umber in there, but mostly I'm going to keep it blue, and I'm not adding any white. I want it dark because it's not picking up very much light. I think that's a little too dark. But you know, where it meets the foliage, I think that's okay for the moment. Careful brush strokes. I can go in and regroom this line, you know, the dark line there, that's fine. I plan on it happening anyways. So that's no issue. But I did want to change brushes because although this one is technically the same size as the other one, it's newer and the bristles are in better shape. Oh yeah, I've just smeared right into that. Oh well. It's okay. Alright. Same mixture. A little more white though. Staying on the blue side of things. Not being quite as light as the back side. Okay, pretty simple start there. I'm going to just allow a bit of light to sneak through here. Just there. I might get rid of that actually. But I'll leave it for the moment. Okay. Now on the edge of that rock. These are very strong, very straight, sharp lines. Excuse me. So let's just take some straight ultramarine blue and give it a bit of, just a hint of variety of color here. Okay. Take away a bit of that strength of line. Okay, I still think it's a little too dark on this side, so we're going to go a little lighter. See, now if I had used linseed oil in this, the surface would be so slippery, the canvas would never pick up the color I'm trying to lay on, because at the moment I'm painting wet and wet. And with this technique of painting, I do not want my canvas to be too slick. Alright, needs cleaning up down here. We don't worry about that right now. I think we'll move on to the larger mass of rock. Well, let's put some light on this one. Let's say that this is a cap. And for the moment, all I'm going to do is paint the cap. Yep, very contrived brush strokes. I'm not worried about it. Okay, that's bluer again. Let's see, maybe I'll... Maybe we'll allow that to stay as a crack for the moment as well. Okay, I'm going to add a little more raw umber to it, warm it up just a bit. I don't want it too warm. I don't want it too warm because I'm gonna, the warmer the more raw umber I add, the closer I'll get to these colors, and we're not in any danger of mimicking them, but I do want to steer clear of them for the moment. Okay. Okay, I think we're going to do something like that. All right. Contrived. Maybe these brush strokes aren't so contrived as they are just careful. Okay, a little more raw umber in that. Not adding white, I'm going down in value. It's okay, don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. I think I'd like to make use of I don't want to end it right at the corner of this rock. I think I'd like to bring it a little bit below that. Okay? Let's see, I still have a bit of dark stuff on my palette. Now I'll just clean up this line a little bit. It's a little thick. It is a little thick. Maybe I shouldn't worry. It's coming closer to the viewer anyway, so. Okay. Now, this is facing us and it's at quite a slant, so I didn't want to go too high with my values on it. This is tilted a little more up. So far, the top of it's still going to be facing skyward, so it's still going to catch a bit of light. Maybe not quite as high value as this. Very close though. And you know, I'm looking at this one too, and I'm thinking, I would like to just, I'm still finding it too streaky. Go a little bluer. And this is how painting always goes. You paint in one area and you discover that, oh, actually, you know, in this other area I think I could do something. So, it's okay. No problem with that. Okay, that breaks up this area. Those lines aren't all so long going through there. I don't want quite that square. So it happens when you use a new brush. Your strokes are so square that often they just look a little bit, well, too square. Okay, I think the design in the cap of this stone is good. I think we're going to go back to shadow on this. Of course, I forgot to turn the camera on for the last bit. But that's all the time I'm going to take. That's all of your time I'm going to take today. These are painted in. With the exception of the backside of this rock, and I'm going to tidy this up. You know, we've had a little stone part of here. Now I'll stay behind and clean this up, and bring up this green. It's going to be nice to have a bit of green down here to accompany the green that I have, you know, up in the trees here, and spread it around a little bit. Now that we have these rocks and they're quite strong, and they have in a sense divorced themselves from the water, because now the water really looks washed out. That's fine. That was the intention all along, was just getting it in there for reference. It's in place now. It looks good to me. Now, you know, next we'll finish the backside here, lighten up this greenery, and I'm not sure if this might just all be ground cover in the foreground. Really not sure yet. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.